living in the moment, and here we are dreaming in the open. Look ahead, we can see forever. Look at us, don't you see we've come so far? Yeah, we've come so far. 'Cause this is our world, this is our time. These are our plans, we're gonna let them shine. This is our place in the human race, and we won't stop dreaming. No, we won't stop dreaming. This is our world, and this is our time. And these are our plans, we're gonna let them shine. This is our place in the human race, and we won't stop dreaming. No, we won't stop dreaming. We won't stop dreaming.
The city of Santa Clarita sprang up from the grassroots. In the latter half of the 20th century, as the far-flung towns of the Santa Clarita Valley grew from dusty, rural outposts into a thriving metropolitan suburb, the valley's residents yearned to control their own destiny. They wanted self-government. They wanted more local control over the way their tax dollars were spent and more influence over the issues that mattered most, like how the community's growth would be managed.
It was the people here having our own voice and our own representation.
We never had local control at our fingertips like we have today. We can decide what we do with the money that's earned here. We make the decisions, not the decision board downtown. I think that's a blessing because you can save money if you control the purse strings. You put it where you need it, not where other people choose it to go.
Los Angeles County government, over the hill and then some 40 miles away, had been providing local government for the Santa Clarita Valley since the communities of Newhall and Saugus were established in the 1800s. By the 1970s, millions of new residents and miles upon miles of gridlocked freeways filled in the formerly wide-open spaces between the Santa Clarita Valley and downtown Los Angeles. LA County government seemed distant and detached from this rapidly evolving North County community.
My only concept was to try to improve what we had, and I really tried to do that. And finally, I just said, you know, we need something better than this.
The city was actually a culmination of a long effort to have self-determination. In 1976 and 78, we tried to break away from the County of Los Angeles and form Canyon County. When we did not succeed, they changed the law and we went for incorporation.
In the 1980s, many of the same volunteer activists who tried to form their own county took a new approach. They launched a city formation committee in 1985, planting the grassroots that would become the city of Santa Clarita. It was no slam dunk.
The original city was going to be 90 square miles, as I recall, and it got pared down to what, about 39?
Yeah, 39.4.
They conducted financial studies. They gathered public input, and the agency that sets government boundaries in Los Angeles County, the Local Agency Formation Commission, or LAFCO, took a hard look at those proposed boundaries.
Unfortunately, we needed the permission of the Local Agency Formation Commission to get on the ballot, and so that's what we had to do. We had to accept their boundaries or go another 10 or 15 years without any local government.
Over the 10 years leading up to incorporation, we could slowly see that Santa Clarita, a wonderful place, a wonderful valley with great ambiance, with great opportunities for the future, was losing its identity in the snarl of what Los Angeles called urban sprawl.
Major landowners with visions of large-scale housing tracts lobbied LAFCO to carve them out of the new city.
The developers didn't want any part of local control.
The property owners with land that was not yet developed.
Right.
They had it good under the county and didn't want a bunch of untested upstart locals deciding their fate. The new city would include, for the most part, only the already built or entitled portions of Saugus, Newhall, Canyon Country, and Valencia.
Richard Dixon, who was the CAO of Los Angeles County, described this very aptly as the largest newly incorporated city in the history of humankind.
I was especially privileged, and still am to this day, that we were able to create the biggest city ever created, particularly in California. And here we are.
After 2 years of wrangling and review, voters within the proposed new city were asked 3 questions in the election of November 3rd, 1987. 1.
And we were focusing on, should we be a city? And the people overwhelmingly wanted local government.
Nearly 70% said yes. 2. Should city council members serve by district or at large? The majority favored an at-large council. And 3. Who should be elected to the very first 5-member Santa Clarita City Council? 26 names appeared on the ballot. The top vote-getter was Howard Buck McKeon, a one-time school board member whose turn as the city's first mayor would launch him toward a political career that included 22 years serving in the U.S. House of Representatives. Joining McKeon on the first city council were bookstore owner Jan Haidt, Joanne Darcy, who worked as the SCV's field deputy to County Supervisor Michael Antonovich, Carl Boyer, a high school teacher who chaired the City Formation Committee, and Dennis Coons, a retired firefighter. They had their work cut out for them. Voters had created a brand new city with no city hall, no staff, and a lot of pent-up demand for a more local government. The grassroots had been planted, and now it was time for them to be nurtured and molded into something completely new.
Everybody was in the same mode of making sure we got the best city that we could get.
The first city council meeting was held December 15, 1987, in the gymnasium at College of the Canyons. There were plaques and presentations from regional dignitaries congratulating the fledgling city upon the beginning of its journey.
On the 3rd of November, we exercised our rights that are granted to us in a free society and cast a ballot on the issue of cityhood. I would like to inform you, 4:30 this afternoon, we officially and formally became the city of Santa Clarita.
Election night, it looked like 6 of us thought we had won. By the next day, it was 5. And we met together in our boardroom over at Howard Phil's, and I had gotten the most votes, so they said, you be the first mayor, we'll rotate every year, change the mayor in order of who got the second, third most votes.
The council members knew they'd need help to get things moving. They hired the city's first official staff member to field the phone calls, longtime community volunteer Carmen Sorrow.
It was basically a bunch of activists that got elected to the city council, and they were just doing the best job they could, but they understood that they needed the professional city manager to guide them.
We had an interim city manager, Fred Bien,
which was an experienced city manager that did a fantastic job with us.
Before long, the council would hire its first permanent city manager.
George Carvalho was the official first city manager for the city of Santa Clarita, and he came in at a time when the city really needed somebody like George.
For 13 years, from 1988 to 2000, he managed the city's day-to-day affairs.
Then that city manager was then responsible to seeing to it that he gets a staff so that they can do the things that we asked them to do. And we had to get a lawyer to represent the city.
Staying even longer, 23 years, was the attorney who had guided the city formation effort. The council kept Carl Newton on as the first city attorney. With its initial city staff decided, the council took its first major action. The 5 new city council members voted unanimously to protect a cherished symbol of the new city, a symbol that would soon take a prominent place on the official city seal.
And everything was going just great, and then Carl gets up and proposes that we protect the oak trees in the city.
First ordinance ever passed was indeed oak tree protection.
We worked hard to get the oak tree ordinance put in place.
It placed a moratorium on cutting and removing oak trees inside city limits. Finally, the citizens of Santa Clarita had the local government they sought, and here it was, in a college gymnasium, responding to residents' concerns and enacting ordinances that carried the rule of law. In those early years of cityhood, much of the local government's activity was naturally focused on establishing and growing the services a city should provide.
Unit 101 right here behind us is the first city hall that Santa Clarita rented when we became a city in 1987.
We would meet in schools until we were able to get a place where we could establish a city hall.
In 1989, the city of Santa Clarita moved into its new home at 23920 Valencia Boulevard, the first real Santa Clarita City Hall. But even as the new city government grew, the communities of the Santa Clarita Valley experienced an unprecedented period of growth as developers made good on the entitlements they had been previously granted by the county. The new city government wasted no time in taking steps to ensure that growth was properly managed. Early ordinances followed in the footsteps of the Oak Tree Ordinance, with new regulations designed to protect hillsides and ridge lines within city limits. And during its first full year as a city, the City Council created the Santa Clarita Planning Commission. This 5-member panel was appointed by the council, with each council member recommending one member. The Planning Commission would be responsible for reviewing all development plans within the city. Some of its decisions stood on their own. Others were recommendations that carried weight with the City Council. Like any local government in California, the new city needed a general plan.
General plan in 1991 was interesting because it was the first time that the city collaborated with the county. And the county and the city did not get along very well, so this little collaboration was super important, not only for the city and the county, but also for the community, which really needed that big picture view, because even though the city limits ended at a certain place, the valley, it all impacts one another, and so that was very important. So a general plan pretty much directs how things are going to go in terms of where the roads are going to go, where the houses are going to go, where the businesses are going to go, and looking at it from a very holistic, big picture perspective.
The city of Santa Clarita faced numerous challenges that tested both its will and its wile in its formative years.
Looking to Santa Clarita now, where a new garbage dump is being planned for an area called Ellesmere Canyon, but some residents think that's garbage.
Back in the late 80s, I heard that they were planning to put the world's largest garbage dump in Ellesmere Canyon.
It was a classic David versus Goliath scenario. The Ellesmere Canyon landfill would take up to 190 million tons of trash.
I formed the SCV Canyons Preservation Committee. We wanted very hard to get the city to help us fight, and that's another wonderful thing of having the city been formed in when it was, because then the city got on board and was huge in being able to get that thing defeated. From beginning to end, it took groups and organizations and convincing that dump wasn't going to happen.
They found out the U.S. Forest Service would have to swap land to make the landfill happen. So they pursued federal legislation to block the land swap. The new city walked the walk, too. Not only did it oppose a new Ellesmere landfill, it also did its part to reduce the overall need for landfills. It enacted a citywide curbside recycling and yard trimmings collection program that kept 48% of the trash out of landfills. The city's pursuit of a legislative solution to the Ellesmere dump paid off.
Well, the company that was pushing that had spent like $25 million on lobbying and efforts to make Ellesmere a landfill. And I had a bill written to eliminate Ellesmere Canyon as a landfill. So I called Barbara Boxer and I said, Barbara, I've got something in this bill that is very important for Santa Clarita. She said, oh, okay. I says, I need that kept in the bill. She says, okay, I'll talk to the chairman.
In 1995, Congress approved a bill by Santa Clarita's first mayor, now Congressman Buck McGinn, and his colleague in the Senate, Barbara Boxer. It said no landfill could be built in the Angeles National Forest.
So that killed it. And that, to me, that was the biggest single thing that benefited the district.
In just a few short years, the city of Santa Clarita had gone from a brand new city with no mailing address to an influential leader in the biggest decisions affecting life for citizens in North Los Angeles County. In addition to planning for the future growth of the community, the new city embraced its role as a watchdog over pending growth and development. The city of Santa Clarita set about improving the local network of roads, which had long been a sore spot. Project by project, the city required new developments to do more to alleviate their impacts on traffic circulation.
The traffic was a big issue. People would honk their horn along Valencia Boulevard as they passed City Hall, waiting in traffic to let people up there know, hey, we're waiting in traffic and we don't like it.
There were missteps along the way. The city didn't capitalize on an offer of state funding for a new Cross Valley connector, and it would be decades before the Newhall Ranch Road Golden Valley Road connector would be completed. But in general, the city drew praise for its diligence in making sure new developments made the traffic flow better, not worse. Likewise, the city strived to make sure new developments provided ample school facilities. Cities like Santa Clarita aren't responsible for school construction, but the new city recognized that local schools were overcrowded. One way to alleviate that was not only to make sure new housing projects provided ample classroom space for their own home buyers' children, but also to negotiate agreements with builders to bring much-needed improvements and additions to existing school facilities. Perhaps the biggest development-related test the new city faced came in 1992 in the form of a 2,911-home project called Portobello. Developers set their sights on a 996-acre piece of property in the geographical center of Santa Clarita, sandwiched between the Saugus Speedway on the north and the Circle J community on the south. At City Hall, some leaders saw Portobello as an opportunity to incorporate new commercial and municipal facilities on prime hilltop real estate in the heart of the city, including a new city hall to be built on an adjacent parcel. All in all, it would be a vibrant city center, a gathering place not only for Portobello residents, but also for the community at large. It even had escalators. You might have thought it was a slam dunk, but there was a wrinkle. For decades, the property had been home to an explosives manufacturer that routinely tested its products in the hills. In years past, it was not uncommon for residents to hear things go boom at all hours of the day and night. Decades of manufacturing rocket propellants and fireworks at the Whitaker Bermite plant left behind an alphabet soup of toxic and hazardous chemicals in the soil and groundwater, from TCEs and TCBs to something that was only starting to be understood called perchlorate. The developer proposed that Portobello be built in phases, with sections of the property being developed as each phase received environmental clearance. After several years of intense debate, the City Council voted in 1996 not to allow any development on the Whitaker Portobello property until the California Department of Toxic Substances Control deemed the whole site safe. Then and now, It was regarded as the right decision. The soil and water cleanup is ongoing, and Portobello, a distant memory. When the city of Santa Clarita incorporated in 1987, it inherited some deficits.
The deficits that we had, at that time, I think it was said it was $1 billion in backlog of lack of infrastructure, which included parks and roads and all of the amenities. You have to remember, at the time we formed, there wasn't even an adequate bridge across the Santa Clara River.
The new city tackled these deficits aggressively from the get-go, seeking to catch up and close those gaps and improve the appearance and livability of the community. To plug the parks gap, the city created a park commission in 1988 to advise the city council on matters of parks and recreation. Structured similarly to the planning commission, the 5-member parks panel was appointed by the council. Under the leadership of the council, commission, and park staff, the city designed and built 3 new parks in its first 10 years: Canyon Country Park and Begonias Lane Park on the east side of town, and the new Creekview Park in Newhall.
The trail system was one of the hardest things I have ever worked on because everybody said it couldn't be done, it was too late. Even after we became a city, it was believed it was too late because it was so much to do.
The city also opened the Valley's very first community center, located in a warehouse on Main Street, then called San Fernando Road.
Newhall was a part of the community in Santa Clarita that was underserved. There was an issue with gangs at the time, and so it was decided that we would start a community center. The purpose was that we would bring in gang members, we would accept gang members under certain rules and regulations, and we would try and rehabilitate them, for want of a better word, to have them understand that to get out of the gangs if they wanted to, but to assimilate them into the community. That was the biggest success of the community center when we started, because not many after-school programs would accept gang members.
The Newhall Community Center hosted a popular youth boxing program, English as a second language class, a toy library for kids, and other programs to enrich the lives of Newhall residents. The city also constructed more than 12 miles of hiking, biking, and pedestrian trails throughout the community, putting Santa Clarita well on its way to having a network of trails that would connect the entire city. Santa Clarita stretched its legs beyond its borders, too. Looking to create a natural buffer, or green belt, around the city, it started working to acquire and preserve unspoiled land as open space. One big chunk came in 1992 when Santa Clarita collaborated with the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy to protect 3,100 acres of open space in Towsley and adjacent canyons.
I was working at that time before cityhood, and then during that process with Senator Ed Davis to create what's now the 8,000-acre Santa Clarita Woodlands Park, where Towsley Canyon is.
Technically outside Santa Clarita city boundaries, the new open space then and ever since has been a valuable resource for all Santa Clarita Valley residents wanting to get closer to nature. The city didn't just acquire parkland, it took over parks and recreation programs with lackluster participation and expanded and promoted them. In a very short time, the city increased participation by 600%. Growing them from 5,000 participants in 1989 to more than 35,000 by the city's 10th birthday in 1997. Under the new City of Santa Clarita, quality of life and community engagement were on the rise. The dream of cityhood was coming true. Some parts of the community needed major sprucing up. The city rolled up its sleeves to beautify local streets, medians, and parkways. The city received state and federal grant funds to build hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of curbs, gutters, and sidewalks in portions of Newhall that had been built without them. And in the city's first 10 years, it designed and built more than 8 miles of landscaped and hardscaped medians all across the city, with particular emphasis on canyon country. Santa Clarita also planted more than 10,000 new trees. In fact, the city planted so many trees that by 1990, Santa Clarita had been named a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation, a distinction the city has held every year since then. By the city's 10th birthday, it had become a widely accepted fact of life that the city of Santa Clarita is a safe place to live, work, shop, play, and raise a family. That's no accident. Soon after the city incorporated, the council made it clear that public safety was priority one. Law enforcement and fire protection, provided under contract with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's and Fire Departments, became major spending priorities in the new city's budget.
We're a contract city, and that means that we contract with the LA County Sheriffs. And they have just, I believe, have done a phenomenal job for all of the citizens of the Santa Clarita Valley. But I also want to add something to that. Public safety is a public issue, which is to say our citizens have to be strong participants in helping our law enforcement organization. That's how we keep our community safe.
Santa Clarita significantly increased funding for law enforcement and crime prevention programs, including drug and gang education in all 4th and 6th grade classrooms in the city, the creation of a teen court program, and the establishment of a new sheriff's team targeting burglaries, robberies, and assaults called COBRA. Soon, there were more than 250 active neighborhood watch programs in Santa Clarita, and all of these efforts combined to help Santa Clarita rank among the 4 safest cities in the nation, as reported by the FBI. The city also created programs designed to promote community harmony. So, what would the new city do if disasters should strike? Would it be up to the task of responding to a natural disaster and coordinating emergency relief for well over 100,000 residents? Santa Clarita didn't wait long to find out. On January 17, 1994, a 6.7 magnitude earthquake shook Santa Clarita to its core, toppling bridges and homes, knocking out electrical power, and leaving many public facilities, including Santa Clarita City Hall, damaged and at least temporarily unusable.
With visible signs of damage nearly everywhere, from cracked streets to destroyed homes, the communities of the Santa Clarita Valley are coming together to face the aftermath of the deadly Northridge Reseda earthquake.
We had to declare a state of emergency in the city, and I signed that declaration shortly after the earthquake hit. And the community has never been tighter than it has right now.
Santa Clarita rose to the challenge.
When the earthquake first hit, I was the first one down at City Hall. And I don't think I went home for a day and a half, and then was working 18, 20-hour days for a long time after that. And so were a lot of the other employees. So you think those types of conditions would generate terrible morale, and it was just the opposite. There was a lot of important work to do, and everybody jumped in and did it.
We were very fortunate that before 1994, when the earthquake, that the city staff had been trained extensively, and that the community had been trained with a community preparedness program we had called SECURE. That stood for Santa Clarita Communities United in Response to Emergencies. Of course, the earthquake was a shock, but then they had everything ready to go from there. And the beauty of the program was that those residents went on and helped other residents.
Overnight, KBET Radio, now known as KHTS, became the go-to place for information about disaster relief. In time, the city's Earthquake Recovery Assistance Program provided access to more than $2 million in grant and loan opportunities to fund the recovery. When voters created the city of Santa Clarita in 1987, they also elected the first city council: Howard Buck McKeon, Jan Haidt, Joanne Darcy, Carl Boyer, and Dennis Kuntz. In order to avoid having elections for an all-new council every 4 years, and for the sake of continuity, the top 2 vote-getters, McKeon and Haidt, were elected to terms of just over 4 years. The others had initial terms of just 2 years and 4 months. Regular 4-year terms for everyone started in the next election in April 1990. In that election, Darcy and Boyer were re-elected, but Kuntz lost his seat to Jill Klajic, an environmental activist who had worked as staff to the City Formation Committee and later for the city. Santa Clarita's next election came in 1992. McKeon bowed out to make what proved to be a successful bid for Congress. Elected to replace him on the city council was George Pedersen, a retired sheriff's captain. Meanwhile, Haidt won a second four-year term. There was a bit of a shuffle in 1994 when Clyde Smythe, the popular retired superintendent of the Hart School District, edged out Klajic when she came up for re-election. Smythe, the father of Cameron Smythe, joined third-termers Boyer and Darcy at the council dais. Klajic would make a comeback. In 1996, Pedersen, our earthquake mayor from 1994, decided not to seek a second term, opening the door for Klajic to return from a two-year absence. Thus, even with a few new faces in between, 3 of the original 5 city council members continued to guide Santa Clarita into its second decade. As the city matured, it took a greater and greater leadership role in economic development.
And we didn't have a lot of shopping, there was no entertainment centers, there were no malls. I think there was 2 stop signs and a signal, and the signal was at Bouquet Junction.
Not only did residents want more activities, shopping opportunities, and job centers closer to home, the city also knew economic development projects were the engine that drives the overall financial health and vitality of the community.
I mean, the mall was for years onion fields, so it was very rural, and it was kind of cool, you know, it was part of living out in an area that definitely didn't feel like LA. But when it came to shopping, Santa Clarita was terrible. I mean, the only 3 stores that were here when around the time of incorporation was Kmart, Target, and Mervyn's. And so I used to joke that I wanted to buy a shirt, I had to leave the Santa Clarita Valley. And so when the mall came into being, it was really, everybody was so excited about it.
Just 5 years after the city formed, Santa Claritans witnessed the addition of the biggest retail engine the valley had ever seen. The Valencia Town Center Mall, built by the Newhall Land and Farming Company as part of the master-planned Valencia community, opened on former farming land bordered by McBean Parkway, Magic Mountain Parkway, and Valencia Boulevard. For the first time, Santa Clarita Valley residents could shop until they dropped right here at home, rather than driving over the hill to malls in Northridge or Glendale. The first 10 years saw the city bring many major employers and retailers into Santa Clarita. Among them were Costco, the Home Depot, Mountasia Fun Center, U.S. Borax, and Princess Cruises, which remains a major employer in Santa Clarita to this day. Santa Clarita also negotiated a development agreement to bring a golf course to the east side of town. The 36-hole championship golf course, as of the city's 10th birthday, was planned to be called Hunter's Green, but when it finally opened years later, it was called Robinson Ranch. Robinson Ranch was sold in 2016 and rebranded as Sand Canyon Country Club. Santa Clarita grew not only in programs and services, but also in size. Remember how the local agency formation commission pared down the size of the city in 1987? Well, in its first decade, Santa Clarita completed 13 annexations, bringing in 25,000 residents who'd been left outside of the initial borders. Meanwhile, city leaders recognized the need to focus on older parts of town that time had left behind. Santa Clarita formed a redevelopment agency as a financing mechanism to revitalize the community's historic downtown Newhall business district. Under the state's redevelopment law, future increases in property tax revenue could be used to fund revitalization projects within a designated redevelopment zone. The state of California would later cancel redevelopment, but the city of Santa Clarita had set the wheels in motion for a revitalization program that would eventually bring new retailers, restaurants, theaters, a big new library, and more to historic Old Town Newhall. Traffic was a problem that predated cityhood. City leaders knew they had their work cut out for them. Not only did they have to improve the local roads network, public transportation options were lacking and certainly didn't match the needs of a burgeoning city like Santa Clarita. The city established local and commuter bus services, and ridership tripled in the city's first 10 years. Santa Clarita's commuter express buses whisked commuters to downtown LA and other employment hubs, helping to reduce traffic on local roads and freeways. Bus services included Dial-A-Ride, which primarily served seniors and homebound residents, giving them the opportunity to reserve a ride just by picking up the phone. Santa Clarita also worked with the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority to bring commuter train service to the Santa Clarita Valley.
And when that earthquake happened, we saw that from a transportation system perspective, we were very isolated.
Isolation became a reality as the number of destroyed bridges and roadways were accounted for. Interstate 5 and Highway 14, virtually the only north and south links to the Santa Clarita Valley, were closed.
The freeways were done. They were down. There was no way to get to and from in and out of our valley via freeways because all of the interchanges had fallen down. Metrolink was the only way. Rail was the only way. So we got on the ball and we initiated we had one station. We initiated the fact that we had another one.
By the end of its first decade, Santa Clarita was coming of age. No longer was it a fledgling city with no staff, no permanent home, and no mailing address. Santa Clarita was one of the largest and most populous cities in Los Angeles County. And it was looking to make its mark, not only politically, but also socially. City leaders created new events that would become local traditions and also bring tourists and their dollars into town. First came the Santa Clarita Cowboy Poetry and Music Festival, later shortened to Cowboy Festival. It embraced the community's Western heritage and culture. Patterned after a similar successful festival in Elko, Nevada, the local festival drew top-tier performers from the cowboy poetry and music genre who were unfamiliar to Santa Claritans, who have since become like old friends.
So we were originally going to do it at Hart High and Hart Auditorium, and because that got red tagged during the earthquake, we ended up moving over to Value's ranch, Melody Ranch. That was a perfect setting. And so we moved it over there. It gave people who hadn't been on the ranch an opportunity to see that. They loved the whole Cowboy Festival atmosphere. And now it is, I don't know how many years, 25 years later, it seems like the community is still enjoying the Cowboy Festival.
Once owned by Gene Autry, Melody Ranch and its western town set would serve as the Cowboy Festival's home for many years, attracting about 10,000 visitors every time.
Great experience. I mean, it really makes you feel like you're back in the Western days and kind of living that good cowboy life.
Just 1 year after that first Cowboy Festival, Santa Clarita hosted its first marathon. The 1995 marathon drew 600 runners from the elite to the recreational for a 26.2-mile race through the streets and paseos of Santa Clarita. The city was striving to be the #1 city in physical fitness. From those humble beginnings, the Santa Clarita Marathon would grow into an official qualifier for the Boston Marathon. The multifaceted event included a half marathon, a 5K, and more, all drawing several thousand participants yearly. To celebrate Santa Clarita's 10th birthday, the City Council invited the community to an ice cream party. The official celebration came on December 13, 1997, when the city sponsored a 5K and 10K run and walk, along with a picnic open to all. From the grassroots up, Santa Clarita had grown from an idea, a concept created in the hopes of improving local governance and giving residents a greater voice in how their community was to be shaped. By the end of the city's first decade, the reviews were in. Santa Clarita had not only become a respected leader in regional issues affecting northern Los Angeles County, but had also risen to challenges, from environmental battles to natural disasters. The experiences of 1987 to 1997 serve as strong preparation for what remained ahead in Santa Clarita's second decade as a city.
What's happening to the little city of Santa Clarita? What are the biggest changes you've seen?
Oh, we've changed in a lot of ways, not just in one.
I remember Fred Bien said, you know, the way the council will be in years to come, the way the city will be the tone that you set now.
It was really fun starting from scratch and building a new organization.
coming up with the revenues to do a lot of things.
The greatest value of the city to date has been the money that we have been able to keep in the city of Santa Clarita. Literally millions and millions of dollars that we've been able to use for parks and rec, for sheriffs, for law enforcement.
It means balancing those things we need to achieve the lifestyle that we want, that is good jobs, functional infrastructure, roads that work, parks with adequacy, the addressing of concerns that we have for children's education, and to me that's what constitutes quality of life.
And I even today get choked up when I see the Metrolink train go by. It's such a big thing for this community to position us for the future.
Santa Clarita is one big family. Whether it's San Fernando Road or Newhall or Canyon Country or Saugus, Bouquet, Valencia, wherever it may happen to be, make it a place where people can come. Make it a place where they feel good. Make it a place where they feel safe. That's Santa Clarita.
Los Angeles County is made up of two people, those who live in Santa Clarita, those who wish they live in Santa Clarita.
From the grassroots up, the city of Santa Clarita spent its first decade becoming the local government that the residents of Newhall, Saugus, Canyon Country, and Valencia demanded when they voted to unite as one city in 1987. By 1998, the new city had reached a number of milestones. Starting from scratch, in its first 10 years, Santa Clarita created a new government, held 4 city council elections. The city had dealt with an environmental threat by helping to thwart a massive landfill in Ellesmere Canyon, and had coped with a major disaster in the 1994 earthquake. The city and the community emerged stronger than ever.
I think the thing that we're most proud of as a city is that when you look around, you see a lot of positive things occurring, and it's very visible, such things as the median landscape, some of the bridges that we've built to try and make it decorative. We've planted a lot of trees. We're trying to get parks built, the Central Park. We also have a very strong financial base. The city is in good financial condition, and this offers us the ability to do some things proactively.
Now, at the dawn of its second decade, Santa Clarita was no longer a brand new city in the setup phase, finding its footing. Now, Santa Clarita was becoming an adept provider of public services while building a reputation for a forward-thinking, community-focused, and innovative approach to local government. Since inception, Santa Clarita placed a high priority on parks, recreation, open space, and community facilities that would improve the quality of life for local residents. The city had inherited a deficit in public parks and amenities when it formed in 1987.
We're one of the only cities that laid out a trail system, an open space system, a system of parks along the river that's interconnected, a road system.
In its second decade, the city made a big splash with several ambitious parks and other public projects. Among them was the Santa Clarita Sports Complex, Aquatic Center and Activity Center, which opened in 3 phases. On a 20-acre site, the city purchased for $3 million in 1998 from the Merle Norman Cosmetics Company. The sports complex was named for city manager George Caravallo, whom city council members credited for leading the push to create the facility. The George A. Caravallo Sports Complex celebrated its grand opening in 1998, followed by the Activity Center in 2002 and the Aquatic Center in 2005. Together, the facilities have hosted everything from volleyball camps to swim meets, skateboarders, public meetings, and yoga classes. Across town, Santa Clarita achieved its grand vision of creating its own Central Park, a 40-acre crown jewel that opened in 2004 as a partnership between the city and the Castaic Lake Water Agency. Central Park not only supplied much-needed space for recreation activities, but also shored up a massive shortage of playing fields for youth sports teams. Central Park brought new, lighted softball fields, basketball courts, a disc golf course, soccer fields, hiking trails, a dog park, picnic tables, public restrooms, and more. The city's largest park would also host special events. most notably Santa Clarita's popular Summer Concerts in the Park series, which featured rising young talent as well as cover bands that had large followings of their own. Prior to the opening of Central Park, the concerts in the park had rotated among several local parks that were not as well equipped to handle the large crowds the free concerts were drawing. Now, Concerts in the Park had a permanent home at Central Park.
Bam, you've got Central Park. But you don't just have Central Park, you have concerts in the park. And you have many, 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 many more activities. That's what I love about this community.
In addition to adding play space for its residents, the city of Santa Clarita placed a high priority on preserving the wide-open, undeveloped spaces around the Santa Clarita Valley to be kept in their natural state for the enjoyment of all. As the city's 20th birthday approached, Santa Clarita property owners green-lighted the city's approach to setting aside open space when they approved a 30-year open space preservation district. Now, with revenue from a property tax assessment running through the year 2037, the city had a mechanism for purchasing and preserving raw land outside the city's borders to achieve the grand goal of arresting urban sprawl by creating a green belt around Santa Clarita.
We have fought all of these years in order to do that, and now we have over 9,000 acres of land that will never be built upon, that is preserved forever for us and for our children. Very proud of that.
By the end of its first 20 years, the city had built 18 new parks, 33 miles of trails, a sports complex, an aquatics center, and more improvements were on the way. From the beginning, the city of Santa Clarita took pride in developing partnerships with local groups and organizations.
We've been able to advance so much because through partnerships, we're able to do what's best for the community as a whole.
Between 1998 and 2007, the city's partnerships were numerous. Among them were the city's partnership with Newhall Land, the developer of Valencia, resulting in the construction of a regional conference center inside the Hyatt Valencia Hotel. Previously, local nonprofits had to go over the hill to the San Fernando Valley because there simply was no facility in the Santa Clarita Valley big enough to hold their fundraisers. Now they could take care of business at home. The conference center has been the go-to place for large local functions ever since.
You know, the city of Santa Clarita always was a partner in our community and local nonprofits. And I look back and I think of the Boys and Girls Club in Newhall, how they worked with Jim Venturous and the local community to build the actual Boys and Girls Club. I also look to the efforts they made, for instance, at the Boys and Girls Club over at Sierra Vista, working with them in addition to the Heart District.
As the city matured, Santa Clarita leaders sought new ways to improve community aesthetics and quality of life. With thriving recreation programs in place and new parks serving the community's outdoor needs, the city began to look at developing the arts. Among the early initiatives were the formation of the city's Arts Advisory Committee and the Arts Alliance. The advisory committee included representatives from the city's parks and planning commissions, as well as community representatives to advise the city council on public art, arts education, and related issues. The Arts Alliance fostered relationships between artists and community leaders that would pay off in years to come. Speaking of partnerships, the city joined forces with College of the Canyons to help fund construction of a new performing arts center on the COC campus in Valencia. The city's contribution of $2.4 million helped expand the size of the complex to more than 900 seats. The city also provided grant funding to local theater groups, including the Canyon Theater Guild and the Repertory East Playhouse, and partnered with a variety of local artists and organizations, not only to celebrate and encourage local artists, but also to bring their art to public spaces, including parks, City Hall, and local libraries. And speaking of libraries, when the city incorporated in 1987, it inherited the local libraries operated by the Los Angeles County Library System, one each in Valencia, Newhall, and Canyon Country. The Newhall and Canyon Country libraries were considered undersized and out of date. The first to be replaced was the Canyon Country Library. A new and significantly larger Canyon Country Library was developed in cooperation with Los Angeles County and made its debut in 2001. The library was named in honor of one of Santa Clarita's founding council members, Joanne Darcy, who would be the longest serving of the 5 original council members elected in 1987. In its second decade, Santa Clarita's leadership continued to evolve. The 1998 City Council election offered an opportunity for newcomers to step up to the plate as Carl Boyer, a city formation leader and one of the original council members, chose not to seek a fourth term. Boyer retired from a career of public service. He was ready to hand the keys to the next generation. Also stepping away was Clyde Smythe, whose friends teased him with the moniker Landslide Clyde after he defeated incumbent Jill Klagic by just 15 votes back in 1994.
I worked on his first campaign, and it was very exciting because he ended up winning by 16 votes. And actually on election day, he only won by 8 votes. And I was actually at City Hall tallying the votes, calling him over at Rattlers where he was having his election night party. And so I was kind of, living it firsthand, and so I knew before he did, how the election was going.
That meant there were 2 open seats on the 5-person council, with only Joanne Darcy staying on to win a 4th term. Taking advantage of the opportunity was a relative newcomer. Frank Ferry, a high school teacher, won one of the open seats on his second try. The other open seat went to Laureen West, an advocate of open space and historical preservation who had served on the city's Parks and Recreation Commission since its inception in 1988. 2 years later, in 2000, when the terms of Jan Haidt and Jill Klagic were set to expire, both decided not to seek re-election. Haidt and Klagic's retirement opened the door for 2 people who would figure prominently in the leadership of the Santa Clarita Valley for the next 2 decades. Retired police officer Bob Keller was elected to the council for the first time, and the 2000 election launched the political career of Cameron Smythe, son of former Mayor Clyde Smythe. The younger Smythe, a Hart High School graduate, would soon find himself rising through the ranks of regional and state politics. When she completed her 4th term in 2002, Joanne Darcy retired from public life after more than 30 years of service, including nearly 15 years on the council. When she stepped aside, Frank Ferry dubbed her Santa Clarita's Mayor Emeritus, and it stuck.
She's known as Santa Clarita's Mayor Emeritus. Of course, I'm talking about Joanne Darcy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So many emotions have passed through my life. So many tributes I've been given. Not deserving, I don't think, but I have been a part of those organizations and those things that happened. And when I look at our city today, I realized what a great thing happened when we did become a city. It is nothing but great. All the people that came with us and stayed with us time and time again, followed us to meetings, demonstrations, giving work on their own for thousands of hours from our volunteers. I do love you all. You're part of my life. You're part of me. And I want you to feel that way about your city, because that's what it means. It's a love. It's a love affair for people. And it'll always be like that if you continue to help.
Taking Darcy's seat on the council was Marcia McLean, an experienced community volunteer and small business owner who had been a leading fighter of the ill-fated Ellesmere Canyon landfill plan. McLean would represent Santa Clarita in regional coalitions with other cities to fight for our needs on a regional level. After all of that change in 1998, 2000, and 2002, the latter half of Santa Clarita's second decade saw relative stability on the City Council as Bob Keller and Cameron Smythe won re-election in 2004, and voters returned Laureen West, Frank Ferry, and Marcia McLean to the council in 2006. But that December, more change was afoot. Cameron Smythe was elected to the California State Assembly in November, and that meant the remaining city council members would appoint someone new to assume his duties. Ultimately, the council decided on the man who had led the Canyon Theater Guild since 1998 as its executive director, Timothy Ben Boydston. Boydston would serve the remaining 16 months of Smythe's term. If you're keeping score, in its second decade, the city of Santa Clarita held 5 council elections in which 5 new members were elected. Taking Caravallo's place was his longtime right-hand man, the assistant city manager Ken Poskamp. Like Caravallo, Poskamp joined the city shortly after incorporation in 1988. Over the years, he served as head of every city department, leaving him perfectly groomed to pick up where Caravallo left off. Like most teenagers, the city of Santa Clarita faced some challenges. Not the least of them was a proposed sand and gravel surface mine in Soledad Canyon that would level 78 million tons of local landscape to produce 56 million tons of concrete aggregates. The mine would be located just outside the city border on Santa Clarita's eastern doorstep. For many residents, it was a here we go again moment. For decades, the Santa Clarita Valley had to fend off one undesirable project or another. In this case, the city was not only going up against a mining company that was brought out in short order by an even bigger mining company that was bought out by the giant Mexican national mining conglomerate Cemex, it also had to fight the federal government. The mining contracts had been approved by the Federal Bureau of Land Management. The mine would have detrimental effects on the quality of life in Santa Clarita, and every organization in town knew it. From the local business organizations to schools to nonprofits, all opposed the mining project, which stood to add more than 1,000 large truck trips to local streets and freeways every day and foul the air with particulate emissions that were double the state standard at the time. Santa Clarita took action starting in 2000, rallying the troops in opposition to the mega mine, lobbying county, state, and federal officials to stop the mining project and prevent it from harming Santa Clarita.
There was no place to sit at Canyon High School, and not many places left to stand either, as thousands turned out to oppose a proposed mining operation in the area.
This is where people come to raise their children, and they don't want to come to a place where there is pollution.
In 2001, roughly 3,000 people attended a community rally hosted by the city to voice their opposition to the Soledad Canyon megamine. Santa Clarita enlisted the aid of its local congressman, who just happened to be Howard Buck McKeon, Santa Clarita's first mayor.
Over the past year, I've been working with the City of Santa Clarita and Cemex USA to help negotiate a legislative solution to end the dispute over the proposed aggregate mine in the Soledad Canyon. With help from our friends in the city of Victorville, I believe we've come up with a legislative proposal that I introduced yesterday that achieves that goal.
That bill, the first of several from McKeon, did not pass. But neither did the mine come to pass in that time. The legislation was an important part of the overall campaign to raise awareness of the mine's potential impacts on Santa Clarita residents and show the federal government that the city was serious. The city put its money where its mouth was. Santa Clarita acquired nearly 1,000 acres of land, including the surface rights to the proposed mining site itself, in an attempt to create a physical roadblock from the mine, and if nothing else, to give Santa Clarita a seat at the bargaining table. The approach seemed to be working by the time the city celebrated its 20th birthday. The city and Cemex reached a truce and agreed to pursue a mutually agreeable solution. Thus, as Santa Clarita headed into its third decade, the Cemex question wasn't resolved, but the mine had been halted, at least for now. Leadership can be tested in many ways. Like the rest of the nation, Santa Clarita's leaders faced a gut-wrenching test on September 11, 2001. Santa Clarita had been named one of the nation's most patriotic cities in the days following Operation Desert Storm in 1991. A decade later, the city again became a unifying force as the nation and the community reeled from the terrorist attacks in New York and Washington, D.C.
Really made, well, for me, and I'm sure for most of us here, which made 9/11 even more devastating emotionally was the fact that Jay Karigian had just been killed in the shootout just a few days before. We had just gone through this burial ceremony. We were just getting back to work, and now here we have this tragic incident that impacts the entire United States and devastates the New York Police Department and the New York Fire Department.
We were supposed to have a council meeting, a very long council meeting that night, and people were very upset. As all people were somewhat dismayed and shocked, and we were all reorienting to who we knew and what we didn't know and what we could do and how we could help each other. And I immediately requested that the council meeting be continued to another night, allowing us to think our position through. And a lot of our staff wanted to be just talking to their relatives in other parts of the country. Some people weren't sure if they had relatives in the building. People wanted to hug their children. They wanted to just know their families and friends were okay.
Over the past 2 weeks alone, Santa Clarita, in fact, Americans all across the country, have joined together to demonstrate to the world that the United States truly is united.
In the days, weeks, months, and years to follow, the city partnered with the Blue Star Mothers, the SCV Veterans Memorial Committee, and other service organizations to create annual events on Patriot Day, Veterans Day, and Memorial Day to honor those who served in the military as well as first responders. The city's sense of patriotism and appreciation for those who have served led to the creation of the Veterans Historical Plaza, making its debut in 2005 on a half-acre triangular site at Newhall Avenue, Walnut, and Market Streets.
This Veterans Historical Plaza recognizes the personal sacrifices made by veterans throughout our history. We support all of you who have served and answered the call to duty. This special place will now and forever symbolize with understanding and respect in this community what it has taken to make and keep America a free country.
The tree-lined plaza includes more than 500 bricks engraved with the names of local veterans and their dates of military service. Having established itself as one of the nation's safest cities during its first 10 years, Santa Clarita stepped up its public safety game to an even higher level in its second 10 years. Working with the Sheriff's Department, the city's anti-gang task force brought law enforcement and community members together to develop programs to help at-risk youth. And in 2001, recognizing the dangers that drug use posed for local teens, the city created the Blue Ribbon Task Force.
We had a committee at City Hall called the Blue Ribbon Task Force that was run by Frank Ferry, who was the council member at the time. And he got a letter from a high school girl who said, "No more. I'm tired of my friends dying through reckless driving." And we decided that we would build a youth grove. We didn't want a memorial. And what we wanted was something that would be educational and would be uplifting and could show children the impact on the families when they lose someone from reckless driving. And the Youth Grove is in Central Park, in a beautiful grove with different trees around it. It has little tree stubs that represent the children that were cut off in their prime. And every year there's a walk and a memorial service where the youth who are in the grove memorialized. Trees are added every year, sadly, because young people still drive recklessly.
You know, one of the things I took great pride in is the city of Santa Clarita was not like many of the cities throughout California, and that is we recognize that our kids have a significant drug issue and are threatened by drugs. Anytime you have a population that's affluent, I mean, every single kid at most of the high schools here are driving cars far better than the one I drove to work as their teacher. And so these kids having 20, 40, 60 bucks in their pocket for spending money was just not uncommon, it wasn't unheard of. And so you knew you were going to have issues of drugs. And I'll always respect, primarily I know for myself, Ken Polskamp. He just absolutely knew right off the bat that if we don't do something, then nothing's going to change.
The city also stepped up to advocate for justice on behalf of one of Santa Clarita's own first responders. David March was a Santa Clarita Valley resident and sheriff's deputy who was gunned down by an illegal immigrant during an otherwise routine traffic stop in Irwindale in 2002. The suspect fled to Mexico, but the city rallied behind March's family to bring his killer to justice. Today, Deputy David March is remembered at a park in Saugus that was named in his honor. It was created by the County of Los Angeles and annexed into the city of Santa Clarita in 2012. Annexations accounted for much of Santa Clarita's growth in its second decade. By the time the city turned 20, it had approved 28 annexations of communities that had been excluded from the city's original 39.5 square mile boundary in 1987. Most had not been developed in 1987. Now, people live there and wanted the services Santa Clarita offered. So, at the new homeowners' request, the city borders were expanded outward. By 1997, Santa Clarita's population had increased from 130,000 to 180,000. Development was still occurring inside the city's original borders, too. As the city grew, so did its road network, and so did the need to effectively plan for and manage traffic. The city embarked upon a variety of road improvement projects and established a traffic operations center at City Hall, where traffic could be constantly monitored and managed.
There's a synchronized light system, and inside City Hall, we can actually look at what's going on. If there's a problem on one of the two freeways, we can stop people at an intersection, shut things down, turn things on to move traffic through.
Perhaps the biggest road improvement the city tackled in its first 20 years was the creation of the Cross Valley Connector, which was under construction as the city turned 20.
It goes from Highway 14, State Route 14, over to State Route 126. It traverses a road that is partially under construction. Truthfully, the accommodation for the rapidly growing valley that the Santa Clarita Valley is, this accommodates the traffic flow in a much shorter period of time.
Connie worked on the STIP, State Transportation Implementation Plan. It felt like forever, and she was the road warrior.
Created in partnership with the county, state, and federal governments, the 8.5-mile, $245 million project, when completed, would provide much-needed relief to other surface streets in the middle of town. The city also continued to embrace public transportation, having established a system that transported approximately 5,000 passengers daily via more than 150 buses and vans. To accommodate transfers on the busy system, the city opened the McBean Transfer Station across the street from the Valencia Town Center Mall. To maintain its growing fleet of buses, in 2006 the city opened a new transit maintenance facility in the Valencia Industrial Center. This 22,000 square foot facility was built to environmentally sensitive green specifications and allows the city to house, maintain, and clean its fleet of buses. The facility was estimated to save the city more than $1 million annually. Santa Clarita also embraced commuter rail in cooperation with the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority. Having already opened the first Santa Clarita Metro Link station adjacent to Sauga Speedway and a second planned for at Via Princesa in Canyon Country, in the year 2000, the city became the first city other than Los Angeles to boast 3 Metrolink stations, making commuter rail easily accessible to residents throughout Santa Clarita. The third Metrolink station, named for founding City Council member and public transportation advocate Jan Haidt, was built to bring commuters to and from the city's historic downtown district, Old Town Newhall. Most Santa Clarita residents of the 21st century don't remember a time when downtown Newhall was the hub of activity in the Santa Clarita Valley. It was the one place where residents from far and wide went to do everything, from grocery shopping to banking to buying and servicing their cars. As the valley grew and changed, and the new town of Valencia came online in the 1960s and 70s, the historic downtown business district withered. The 1980s brought cityhood, and with it an earnest desire to inject new life into downtown Newhall. The second decade saw those desires start to move off the drawing board and into the street. In 1997, Santa Clarita began executing its long-term plan to revitalize Old Town Newhall and transform it into an arts and theater district while continuing to meet the local shopping needs of a growingly diverse population. The city launched a popular farmers market in downtown Newhall, bringing residents into the historic district so they could see the improvements unfold. Cosmetic improvements were the first hint of bigger changes to come, as the city's Old Town Newhall revitalization efforts brought facade improvements to downtown businesses, and a reconfiguration of San Fernando Road created a more pedestrian-friendly feeling to the walkable town. Previously, San Fernando Road had been a 40-mile-per-hour blow-through, and Railroad Avenue was a closed-off side road. Now, Railroad would reopen for truck traffic, and speeds on San Fernando Road would be slowed, so motorists could actually see the storefronts instead of whizzing past them. Additional changes to the streetscape in the 2007-2008 period would include renaming San Fernando Road to Main Street within the Old Town Newhall section, and ultimately eliminating the San Fernando name within the city altogether to reinforce the notion of Newhall and Santa Clarita as a destination rather than a stopover. Santa Clarita also worked with Newhall merchants to tie in the city's annual Cowboy Festival. The city restarted the Newhall Walk of Western Stars, which had been on hiatus under the previous operator, and made it an official festival event. Established in 1981 by Joanne Darcy and others, the walk honors stars of film, television, and radio who have a Santa Clarita Valley connection. As time went on and the Cowboy Festival matured, its focus shifted more and more to Old Town Newhall. The city's focus wasn't limited to entertainment, dining, and retail sales.
There's been a real push in the last couple of years, particularly by the city, to create a theater and arts district in the Old Town Newhall with Canyon Theater Guild and Santa Clarita Repertory Theater and our own organization bringing in theaters, and hopefully there'll be art stores and museums and coffee houses, and eventually it'll be restored and people will go there to hang out and have a great time.
In 2006, the city opened a brand new 17,000 square foot community center in Newhall. The $7 million facility replaced the original rented facility the city opened a couple of blocks away in 1994. The new one was more than double the size. It would offer a wide variety of activities for more than 2,000 young people who would enroll in the center's programs, including Ballet Folklorico, the city's award-winning boxing program, music and art classes, homework assistance, and more. Like all the other changes happening in Newhall, the new facility wasn't just about a building. It was about building a healthy community.
Many times I had been down in Newhall and I saw the Folklorico program that was amazing. I saw a boxing program that took kids literally that would have been gang members that had just adult mentors mentor them to box. And I know from my experiences working with youth that if kids can have an adult mentor in those early ages of 10, 11, 12, and into being a teenager, they're far more likely to reach their potential, do well, graduate from high school, not get pregnant, and move on and potentially go on to college, have a family, and be successful.
If you find yourself watching films or television shows and thinking, that scene looks familiar, there is a reason. There is a good chance whatever you're watching was made right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. We've got a rich history in filmmaking, going all the way back to the early 1900s, when the industry moved from New York to Hollywood. The Santa Clarita Valley has been Hollywood's backlot from the beginning, and it still is, more today than ever. Santa Clarita is within the coveted 30-mile zone, the radius where many film companies prefer to shoot because they don't have to pay travel expenses. But that's true no matter which direction they go from Hollywood and Vine. Santa Clarita leaders realized early on the economic benefit filming brings to a community, not just to those involved in production, but also to the many mom-and-pop businesses in Santa Clarita that provide services to film companies. So in 2002, Santa Clarita leaders created a film office at City Hall and established a film stakeholders group to make it easy to film in Santa Clarita. By the city's 20th birthday, film activity was on pace to boost Santa Clarita's economy by $20 million a year.
How about the movie industry? They sometimes refer to us as Hollywood North, and that's okay. We do a lot of filming here in Santa Clarita, but it helps our families with good paying jobs, and it helps to stimulate the entire economy of Santa Clarita.
Film production was just one facet of Santa Clarita's overall economic development program.
One of the things that the city has done so very, very well is taken a very strong position in support of business. We have certainly been a strong proponent and supporter of our Chamber of Commerce, and as of just in recent years, we created an Economic Development Corporation here in Santa Clarita. We've identified 5 key forms of business that we want to focus on here in Santa Clarita that are all just very, very fine employment centers. Certainly, I think at the top of the list is our technology businesses. We've brought in so many fine companies to help our citizens in that regard.
The city's Economic Development Department worked to bring clean industries and employers to Santa Clarita, while working with local businesses to promote the concept of keeping sales tax dollars local. The city launched a Shop Santa Clarita campaign to educate local residents that purchases made within the city, especially for big ticket items like automobiles, generate sales tax revenue that the city needs to support and grow programs and services for its tax-paying residents. Shop inside the city gets the local share of the sales tax. Shop outside the city, some other place gets the local share of the sales tax. Either way, you pay it. The question is where it's spent.
You know, Shop Local came to be because we had so many residents that were commuters that had their jobs down in the San Fernando Valley in the city of Los Angeles. And so we needed to inform our residents that, hey, we understand that during the course of the day you're going to go out at lunch and shop in Pasadena or in Woodland Hills. However, if you could hold off and wait till you got home and you would shop in our local businesses, the small business owners, or even the larger ones such as the mall or a Best Buy or a Costco, it actually benefited them.
That made us so that we could go out and build more parks and have better police services and have all the landscape medians and do improvements to the streets. All of those things happen because we were able to keep more money local.
By the time the city was preparing to celebrate its 20th birthday, some of the annual events it created during its first 10 years, such as the Cowboy Festival and the Santa Clarita Marathon, had become annual traditions that not only drew large crowds of local participants and spectators, but also boosted tourism and promoted all that Santa Clarita had to offer. By 2007, Santa Clarita was put on the map. A new map, that is. For the first time, Santa Clarita was a host city for the Amgen Tour of California, an internationally televised professional cycling race through some of the state's most scenic and challenging terrain. Now a UCI World Tour event, just like the Tour de France, the Amgen Tour features many of the same top world riders. On February 24, 2007, cyclists raced to their first Santa Clarita finish line. And while it may have been the finish line for the cycling race, like so many other happenings in Santa Clarita from 1998 to 2007, it was a starting line for things to come. With 2 challenging decades and an earthquake under its belt, the city of Santa Clarita was no longer a municipal newcomer. Established in 1987 by voters who were experiencing growth pains, Santa Clarita by 2008 was a well-established provider of public services with leaders who were experienced at making the decisions that affected the lives of nearly 200,000 residents. According to the 1990 census, 3 years after incorporation, Santa Clarita had a population of just over 110,000 people. In the ensuing years, through new development and annexations, Santa Clarita blossomed into one of the largest cities in Los Angeles County.
That we are now the 3rd
largest city in Los Angeles County.
At over 225,000.
With the annexation of Fair Oaks Ranch and the neighborhoods along Jake's Way. Just a few months later, LA County's local agency Formation Commission approved Santa Clarita's biggest ever annexation, adding nearly 2,500 acres of northern Saugus and 9,500 residents into the city. By 2016, the city had grown by 18 square miles through annexations for a total of 64 square miles by its 30th birthday.
We're the city of Santa Clarita, located primarily between the 5 and the 14 freeways. And then surrounding the city is the county of Los Angeles. And outside in the county of Los Angeles, there's tens of thousands of residents who are looking into the city and seeing that the city residents were getting more benefits. For instance, we had a very active parks and recreation program. So if your kid wanted to play and learn tennis or play in our local t-ball leagues or be in our swim leagues and our aquatic centers, the residents here in the city were getting first dibs at getting into those programs.
The city of Santa Clarita had proven it was up to the task of meeting the needs of its growing population, and it had done so while responsibly managing taxpayer resources. The city built a healthy 20% reserve fund, delivered a balanced budget on time every year, with an annual operating budget approaching $200 million by 2017, and had earned a AAA credit rating from Standard & Poor's.
Fiscal challenges are always a challenge for cities. I would say that the city of Santa Clarita has weathered those fiscal challenges with the Great Recession. That was a big fiscal challenge for cities across the nation, really. The city of Santa Clarita, because of its fiscal conservatism, really fared very well in that. And I think that as a resident, there was really no visible reduction of services during that time.
Santa Clarita continued in its third decade to promote tourism and economic development, successfully attracting new employers and retailers to the community. The city established a business incubator in Old Town Newhall to help local entrepreneurs launch new businesses, and the addition of many new retailers, restaurants, and hotels brought Santa Clarita's dining, shopping, and entertainment options to new heights for local residents and tourists alike. Others throughout Southern California were taking notice of the changes in Santa Clarita. Perhaps the greatest sign of the respect was shown in the form of a major cooperative planning effort between the city and Los Angeles County. It bears remembering that dissatisfaction with county government was one of the motivating factors for those who sought cityhood in 1987. Yet by the turn of the 21st century, the city and Los Angeles County had developed a solid working relationship, so much so that the two entities decided to work together to develop a comprehensive joint general plan update for the entire Santa Clarita Valley. Called One Valley, One Vision, it replaced the city and county's older separate general plans that didn't always mesh. Now, after 10 years of planning and coordinating, Santa Clarita and Los Angeles County would move forward with a unified vision for the valley, addressing issues like land use, circulation, housing, noise, conservation, open space, economic development, and safety. The plan established a path for managing growth and development on both sides of the city-county border for years to come. The relationship between Santa Clarita and the county had come a long way indeed. One major mandate when Santa Clarita formed in 1987 was the task of improving transportation within the city. In its early years, Santa Clarita made major strides in both road improvements and public transportation, with a new bus system and 3 Metrolink train stations opening inside the city. As Santa Clarita entered its third decade, city leaders continued to forge ahead with plans to make it easier for residents to get from point A to point B. Several major milestones were reached. Most obvious was the highly anticipated Cross Valley Connector, which fully opened in 2010. A critical east-west route through Santa Clarita, the Cross Valley Connector was decades in the planning.
Then once those two things were fait accompli, the plan to get them across, it had to be finished, because otherwise we were stuck when there's a problem with freeways with no way to move, and things would just lock down. So that was started so many years before. It took us 10 years to build it.
The $245 million road, with funding cobbled together from federal, state, and local government sources, provided a new connection from Interstate 5 to State Route 14 via Newhall Ranch Road and Golden Valley Road. The final piece of the connector was a 6-lane, 1,100-foot bridge spanning the Santa Clara River, which posed the project's biggest environmental and engineering challenges. 6 years later, city officials dedicated what Councilman Bob Keller called the icing on the cake of the Cross Valley Connector.
We've been enjoying the Cross Valley Connector now for a number of years, but by having this widening project completed, that is really the icing on the cake for the completion of the Cross Valley Connector. The Golden Valley Bridge is being renamed in honor of Connie Warden Roberts, a local advocate and Santa Clarita community leader known for her vital role in the formation of the city of Santa Clarita in 1987. She was often called the road warrior for all of her efforts in building new roads, including the Cross Valley Connector.
I can't imagine us today without the Cross Valley Connector. It is a tremendous asset for all of us, and it's really good to know that emergency services can move around, and I think that it's very important to have a safe valley.
The newly widened Golden Valley Road Bridge over the 14 freeway. Its completion improved traffic flow at the eastern end of the connector, which dedicated turn lanes for motorists to gain access to the freeway.
Connie worked tirelessly to bring that up, and she got it all the way through, and stayed with it all the way through funding and being built, and now her name's on it, the bridge up at Golden Valley. And I would have named the whole road for her, because without Connie, no road, and without Connie, really, no city. She was the political powerhouse that created the city of Santa Clarita.
Roads weren't the only deficiencies Santa Clarita inherited when it formed in 1987. There was a serious shortage of parks.
When we became a city, one of the big issues that we faced was the fact that we had quite a deficit in parkland, or space, green space for the residents. We've made significant progress in adding several parks and green space to the city's inventory, but that really continues to be a big issue for us. We're very much a family community with a lot of kids, a very active lifestyle here in Santa Clarita, so that challenge of continuing to provide that field space, those park amenities, continues to be a challenge, and one that we look to continue to make progress on. Yeah, I think we're either at 34 or 35 parks. We just added one about a year ago. We continue to look for new park opportunities. Obviously, we've had a couple of annexations, and with that have brought parks, but we've also not only built parks, but we've also expanded parks. Central Park is a great example of that. We've had several phases of development with Central Park, most recently adding 2 additional fields for that.
2014 brought the third phase of Central Park with 2 new full-size lighted multi-use sports fields, 170 new parking spaces, a new basketball court, and additional amenities to make the 130-acre park even more of a destination for recreation and sports enthusiasts. When River Village Park opened in Dwayne Harty's neighborhood in 2015, it became Santa Clarita's 30th park. A year later, following his death, the city renamed the park in Harty's honor.
One of the things that Dwayne was known for was his volunteerism. And he didn't just spend a little bit of time. I mean, he was a nuts and bolts guy in so many activities in our city. And you know, I take the 4th of July parade. I know firsthand that man would labor for hours helping to organize the parade itself. He would work out the cars for people to ride in. He was a tireless volunteer in so many ways. And those of us that had the privilege of really knowing him knew firsthand what kind of a fine man he was.
In addition to new park space, the city focused on expanding services with new community centers in the city's various population centers.
We are now in process of planning a new community center at the intersection of Sierra and Soledad. All of these things that we've been able to do would have not been possible had we remained just another community within the county.
Groundbreaking is expected in 2018, and the center is planned for a 2020 opening. By its 30th birthday, Santa Clarita boasted nearly 9,000 acres of preserved open space, 85 miles of off-street trails, and 34 parks and counting. Early on, Santa Clarita leaders recognized the importance of the arts in creating a sense of community.
And now we're starting to approach the arts and bringing that to full fruition with theaters and auditoriums and playhouses, and I'm looking forward to us creating the Arts Center in the near future. Arts bring us to our higher self and encourages our brain function to find the beauty and the creativity that makes us all better, and it makes a community more vibrant, higher intellect, more creative children, allows us to be the best of the best.
It created a full-fledged arts commission in 2009 and ratcheted up the budget and programs offered through the city's Arts and Events Office. In 2016, the City Council approved an Arts Master Plan, which was 2 years in the making and based on extensive community engagement, with participation from city staff members and more than 1,200 local residents. The Arts Master Plan established a roadmap for future arts programs and events, with a vision statement that reflected the public's feedback. The vision statement calls for Santa Clarita to be recognized as a city of the arts, where the lives of residents, artists, and visitors are enriched through artistic and cultural experiences. The plan calls for city programs to bolster cultural vitality, including public art, arts education, and Old Town New Hall revitalization. It also outlines a plan to strengthen the city's cultural support systems and celebrate diversity in the community. Santa Clarita, having started from scratch in 1987, was becoming a mature, forward-thinking, sophisticated hub for culture and the arts. Even as it has grown, Santa Clarita has remained one of the nation's 100 safest cities based on government crime statistics. Santa Clarita has taken an aggressive approach to ensuring public safety, not only through a strong budgetary commitment to law enforcement and fire protection services, but also to educational campaigns and programs designed to help keep the community safe and to provide healthy, safe activities for youth. The city developed award-winning anti-drug programs to raise awareness and provide resources to help youth remain drug-free. Among them were an annual parent resource symposium called Heroin Kills and the Drug-Free Youth in Santa Clarita program, a free student-led voluntary anti-drug club on school campuses to support positive choices among our young people. To help keep the city beautiful and to discourage vandalism and gang activity, the city developed an efficient and fast-acting graffiti removal program that eliminated more than 14,000 graffiti tags in 2016 alone.
We spend over $1 million a year on our graffiti cleanup. And I can guarantee you most people would say that's probably one of the best line items in our city budget. We get that cleaned up within 24 hours. We attack potholes as quickly as we can as well. And those are things that are important, that regardless of size, you can still keep those type of issues under control, and that prevents us from having some of those problems that cities a few miles away from us do.
Graffiti is another thing that we have zero tolerance for graffiti, and that's another thing I'm very proud of.
New fire stations have been developed as new residential neighborhoods have come online. And finally, a new Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station is set for construction in the middle of the city on the Cross Valley Connector to replace the nearly 50-year-old building in Valencia that the community has outgrown. The new 45,000 square foot Sheriff Station is expected to open in 2020.
This is a huge thing off our list. Our sheriffs have been in the same little closet since 1972.
Reflecting national trends, the city's senior population has been on the rise, and demand has increased for programs to serve the elderly. The city and county have collaborated for many years to help fund the nonprofit Santa Clarita Valley Senior Center in New Hall. When Santa Clarita turned 30, it became increasingly evident that the existing senior center couldn't meet the demands of an expanding senior population. The center, already providing 19 different programs and services to some 10,000 seniors, was pushed to the limits of its now 34-year-old facility. A community-based capital campaign began with the vision of developing a newer, modern senior center, and the city and county each put up $3 million. With the rest of the $11.4 million cost raised from hundreds of community donors, the shovels went into the ground in October 2017 for a new, state-of-the-art 30,000 square foot senior center in the heart of the city at Golden Valley and New Hall Ranch Roads.
New senior center coming in the next 2 years, which will accommodate the amazing seniors that we have.
The new center will include a fitness center, ballroom, dance studio, banquet hall, cafe, putting green, family lounge, computer lab, learning center, and salon. The critical home-delivered meals for homebound seniors will continue, and now the center will provide financial planning and health and wellness services. As Santa Clarita prepares to enter its 4th decade as a city, the local government that the voters created is helping create a brighter future for its residents of all ages. By the time the city turned 20, the torch had passed from its founders to a new set of leaders. That evolution continued with the first city council election of Santa Clarita's 3rd decade. Tim Ben Boydston, director of the Canyon Theater Guild, had been appointed in December 2006 to finish Cameron Smythe's term when Smythe moved up to the State Assembly. Boydston promised not to turn the appointment into incumbency when the term expired 15 months later, and the seat went to Lori Ender, a Parks Commissioner who had served as president of the Santa Clarita Valley Council PTA. She joined the council as Bob Keller was elected to his third term. In 2010, 3 incumbents sought and won re-election. Frank Ferry, Laureen West, and Marcia McLean were all re-elected as the voters expressed their confidence in the city's now experienced leadership. It would be the 4th term for Ferry and West, and the 3rd for McLean. Voters kept Bob Keller again in 2012, but change was afoot. Tim Ben Boydston, who promised not to run in 2008, ran in 2012 and won. He edged out Lori Ender, who served just 1 term. By 2014, Frank Ferry was ready to pursue career opportunities outside of the public eye. So he retired from the council after 4 terms and also stepped down as principal of Alamany High School in Mission Hills, a position he had held for 8 years. That opened the door for newcomer Dante Acosta to step into his first public office. Acosta had risen to prominence as a community activist, particularly for his work on behalf of charities that help military families. He started the Rudy A. Acosta Memorial Foundation in honor of his forever 19-year-old son, Army Specialist Rudy Acosta, who was killed in action in Afghanistan in 2011. Acosta joined the council alongside Marcia McLean and Laureen West. 2016 also saw Santa Clarita switch from April to November elections. The city was one of the many local agencies targeted by activists who alleged that the at-large, off-year election system used by our local school and water boards and the city tended to suppress minority participation. In a court-approved settlement, the city agreed to consolidate its council elections with the November presidential and gubernatorial elections when more people voted. But the council seats remained at large, meaning each council member still represents all residents of the city rather than just a fraction of them. Bob Keller was re-elected handily in the city's first November election from among a field of 11 candidates that included another familiar face, Cameron Smythe, who left the council back in 2006 to serve in the State Assembly. Now Smythe returned, becoming the incumbent who had replaced him 10 years earlier, Tim Ben Boydston. Immediately after he took the oath of office in December 2016, Smythe's council colleagues named him mayor, a 1-year position where the mayor serves as chairman of the board and is the council's official spokesperson. By custom, the mayoralty would have gone to Laureen West, but she nominated Smythe to step ahead of her in line. But Acosta's time on the council was brief. Like Cameron Smythe before him, Acosta heard Sacramento calling and sought a position in the State Assembly in November 2016. He won, and that left another opening on the City Council. The 4 council members tapped Bill Miranda to complete Acosta's term. Miranda, who rose to the top of a field of 50 applicants, is an Air Force veteran, editor of the Our Valley Santa Clarita magazine, and a former advisor for the Latino Business Alliance under the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce. His appointment runs through the city's 30th birthday and beyond to November 2018. The City Council wasn't the only place for personnel changes. In 2012, Ken Pulskamp retired as city manager after serving as the city's chief executive for a decade. Pulskamp, who had worked for the city since its first full year of cityhood, was just the 2nd full-time permanent city manager in Santa Clarita. The council didn't have to look far for an experienced leader to replace him.
When I started, the city was much smaller. I think when I first got here, the population was probably around 140,000. I would say that my management style is really very similar in a lot of ways. Being here for 23 years, I've had the distinct opportunity of working for 2 very good city managers. The first city manager, George Carvalho, and then secondly, Ken Pulskamp. And I really was the beneficiary of working underneath them and learning with them, and I think that helped develop my style. In that way, I think our styles are very similar in that we very much are fiscally conservative. We very much uphold the values of this organization and continue to build an organization based on those values. And we continue to support the council and see our opportunity to implement the policies and the vision of the City Council.
Striplin was the natural successor to oversee a staff of full-time and part-time employees. One continuing battle brewed throughout the city's third decade, and that was the battle over a planned sand and gravel mine on Santa Clarita's eastern border in Soledad Canyon. Community activists and city leaders agreed the massive mining project would disrupt the quality of life in Santa Clarita in several ways, fouling the air, clogging the freeways, and destroying precious wildlife habitat. Back in 1997, the city and the mining conglomerate, Cemex, reached a truce. Each side would call off the dogs while they worked on a mutually agreeable solution. The truce stretched out for nearly a decade, and the project remained in limbo as the city turned 30. There were false starts and victories along the way. In 2014, President Barack Obama designated more than 346,000 acres of the Angeles National Forest as the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument.
My commitment to conservation isn't about locking away our natural treasures. It's about working with communities to open up our glorious heritage to everybody, young and old, black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, to make sure everybody can experience these incredible gifts.
The new national monument abuts the mining site, giving local leaders hope that the federal government might not want an open-pit mine on the monument's doorstep. That same year, Congressman and one-time Santa Clarita Mayor Howard Buck McKeon won approval from the House of Representatives for legislation to block the 78 million-ton gravel mine. But his bill died in the U.S. Senate. 1 year later came the biggest piece of good news in the protracted battle. The Federal Bureau of Land Management canceled the Cemex Soledad Canyon mining contracts in August of 2015, a decision which, if upheld, would stop the mine once and for all. But as of the city's 30th birthday, Cemex was still appealing the decision, and the threat persisted. The city tackled other quality of life issues at home. In March 2014, keeping what some considered a promise of cityhood, the council voted to buy out Edwards Outdoor Advertising. Soon after, it started the process of removing 47 billboards that dotted the landscape along the city's major traffic corridors. In a separate proposal, the city and the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority decided to replace 62 giant billboards along the Metrolink train tracks through town, with 3 electronic billboards facing Interstate 5 and the 14 freeway. But the plan for electronic billboards in a city that had none drew controversy. Santa Clarita voters rejected it with a November 2014 referendum, the first time in city history that the voters overturned a council decision. Not long after Santa Clarita became a city in 1987, local leaders pursued their vision of restoring the community's languishing central business district to its former glory. In the 1990s, the city started using redevelopment to create Old Town Newhall. Redevelopment allowed the city to leverage future increases in overall property tax revenues to pay for public improvements, increases that might not come if the improvements weren't made. For the city and downtown investors, it was a win-win. But in 2012, the state of California sacrificed redevelopment agencies in order to plug its own budget gap. With a stroke of his pen, Governor Jerry Brown eliminated Santa Clarita's and all other redevelopment agencies in the state.
Which makes it much more difficult in order to be able to help those that need it with housing and such. I don't know the reason for that. I can't come up with a good common sense reason for them doing that. Our redevelopment was spending the dollars the way it was supposed to be spent, and it just made it much more difficult. But once again, when you care about something and you have the resolve to do it, it can be done.
Yeah, if you want to talk about some of the big changes, I mean, we've turned Newhall into an arts district and revitalized it.
That left the city to pursue its Old Town Newhall dreams through other means, which is exactly what it has done. It hasn't been easy, and not everyone would survive. Redevelopment couldn't come fast enough for businesses like Newhall Hardware, a local mainstay since 1947. Suffering from an onslaught of big box home improvement stores, it closed permanently in 2008. Amid the turnover, new shops and restaurants came to Old Town Newhall as Santa Clarita remained committed to transforming the historic downtown into a revitalized arts and entertainment district. Right before the state canceled redevelopment, Santa Clarita committed to building a cornerstone for Old Town Newhall, a big new library. It would be much more than a building with books in it, and it would bring on another change. Since cityhood, Santa Clarita's 3 public libraries, one in Valencia, one in Canyon Country, and a small one in Newhall, had been part of the LA County Public Library system. Now the city was using its own redevelopment money to replace the small Newhall library with a big one, but the county library system was running a deficit and couldn't afford the books and materials that a modern 21st century library would need. The city refused to take no for an answer. Santa Clarita was one of just a few places where the county libraries were running at a profit and subsidizing library services elsewhere. The city realized it could equip a new library in Newhall and ramp up services in Valencia and Canyon Country if only it could keep all of the local library dollars local.
So we decided that we would look into having our own library system. And that's another thing I'm very proud of, is being able to decide that we were going to try and have our own libraries, and it's been extremely successful. We have more programs, bigger programs. We work with the schools, and at first people were a little skeptical, but now we're told, how great it is, and that's just another thing of being a city that you're able to do for our residents.
And with a healthy library budget, the city is set to open a sorely needed 4th library to serve Saugus in 2020. Meanwhile, the Old Town Newhall Library anchors the north end of Main Street, where the city hosts popular community arts and cultural events that bring the new Old Town to life on Thursday nights. At the south end, the city replaced a traffic-snarling stoplight with a roundabout in front of William S. Hart Park. The traffic circle made its debut in 2014. There are more improvements to come. Across the street from the Old Town Newhall Library, the city is erecting a 400-stall parking structure as part of a public-private partnership that will include 20,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space, 46 upstairs residential units, and finally, after much anticipation, a 7-screen Laemmle Art House movie theater. Piece by piece, Old Town Newhall is coming back bigger and stronger than ever. As the city of Santa Clarita turned 30, it said goodbye to one of the shining lights of cityhood, Joanne Darcy. A leader in the city formation effort, a member of the first city council, and the Santa Clarita Valley's liaison to county government for a decade before that, Darcy is affectionately remembered as Santa Clarita's Mayor Emeritus. She didn't know the meaning of the word stop or can't. Like so many others who put community above self, she took great pride in the city she helped create. From a grassroots uprising led by community activists who yearned for more local control over the issues that impacted their growing community, Santa Clarita became a bustling city, the 3rd most populated in Los Angeles County, while still retaining a sense of history and community and the quality of life standards that attracted many of its residents in the first place. Looking ahead, the city has big plans as it turns 30. It has set in motion a 5-year strategic planning effort geared to lead the city into the future. Santa Clarita 2020 contains more than 60 focused plans with attention to public safety, building and creating community, enhancing economic vitality, beautification, public infrastructure, and proactive, transparent, and responsive government services.
I'm very optimistic that over the next 30 years, as we've seen in the past 30 years, we're going to have nothing but continued improvement and continue to always focus on what I consider to be a key element, and that is that we make our decisions to support and stand tall for the families.
My hope for the future is that right now, as big as we are, people still feel that hometown feel. We feel like a small community, and I don't ever want that to go away.
Inch by inch, 30 years later, you cannot recognize the amazing movement forward, what has happened. It is so dramatic from what they started with.
When my kids ask, what did you do? Why are you gone all the time? I can point to things like roads, parks, events that they enjoy. That's what we're doing at City Hall.
The city is on top of things, wanting to project ahead into the future. That's what I love about this community. We make things happen.
The city of Santa Clarita had achieved the dream of its founders, starting from scratch, shaping itself into a safe, healthy, and welcoming place to live, work, play, run a business, and raise a family with an eye toward a bright, prosperous tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita. You made it 30 years.
I'm not going to sing. Happy birthday, Santa Clarita, and as we say in England, many happy returns.
Santa Clarita, I take great pride in wishing you the happiest 30th anniversary possible.
Well, here we are, living in the moment, and here we are, dreaming in the open. Now look around, isn't this a new day? Make a move, doing things a new way, a new way. 'Cause this is our world, and this is our time. These are our plans, we're gonna let them shine. This is our place in the human race, and we won't stop dreaming. No, we won't stop dreaming.
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita. 30 great years.
Happy 30th birthday, Santa Clarita.
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita.
I want to wish the city of Santa Clarita a very happy 30th birthday.
City of Santa Clarita, happy birthday. It's been a great place to raise my kids. I've always been proud to be a citizen, council member, and mayor in the city of Santa Clarita.
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita.
I want to wish Santa Clarita a happy birthday. And when are you going to get around to annexing my home?
Look ahead, we can see forever. You and me doing it together. Light it up, we can be a million stars. Look at us, don't you see we've come so far? Yeah, we've come so far. 'Cause this is our world, and this is our time, and these are our plans. We're gonna let them shine. This is our place in the human race, and we won't stop dreaming. No, we won't stop dreaming. Standing at the crossroads, feeling how the wind blows, we can soar above the clouds. Every moment is a heartbeat, and every breath feeling so sweet. And who can say what happens now?
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita. It's been 30 great years.
Happy 30th birthday, City of Santa Clarita.
Yeah, happy birthday to you, and you'll pay me to stop.
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita.
Happy anniversary, Santa Clarita.
Happy birthday, Santa Clarita!
'Cause this is our world, this is our time, these are our plans, we're gonna let them shine. This is our place in the human race, and we won't stop dreaming. No, we won't stop dreaming. This is our